evening and welcome to the Sound Off Show. My name is Linda Kirker. I host the program and thanks for tuning in tonight. I hope you're nice and cool. I hope you have a little air conditioner going. I found myself sweating bullets earlier and it feels good in the studio here, so that's a nice comfort. We're having a few really hot days, so we know it's summer. Speaking of hot days, I have a few tickets here, one-day passes for the field days, Franklin County Field Days in Highgate. And we're going to have a little quiz here in about 15 minutes. We'll do it twice during the show. And I will, either my guest or I will read a question, and then if you give the correct answer, then you can get as much as 4 tickets, one-day tickets, for entry into the field days. So we'll be doing that in a little bit, and the phone number will be on the screen. I think it's 527-6449. And with that, before I get going on anything else, I want to introduce my guest, no stranger to the program or to the studio here. David McWilliams is the president of the board of the Northwest Access TV. He is also a member of the town select board, and he's the health officer for the town. So welcome aboard.
Thank you, Linda. It's been about maybe a month since I've been on here, and the last time I was on with you, we ran out of time.
Often that happens.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much to talk about and to share with the folks, and certainly tonight we want to invite you to chime in. We have several topics that we're going to talk about, and Dave was nice enough to step up today and to come on to the program, and I'm always happy to see him. The first topic, well, do you have one that you want to start with?
Well, first of all, I'd like to just take just about a minute of your time.
Sure.
Because right now we're having a major problem with blue-green algae in the bay. Mm-hmm. It's affecting Georgia shores, affecting Burlington, all the bay. Today we had a state gentleman from the State of Vermont Health Lab come up and do a sample of the bay. And right now, if you go down there, you cannot swim. The town of St. Albans, we put up our signs. Me and Bill Miggs, me being the health officer, Bill Miggs being the gentleman who's in charge of the parks, felt that we had to close it because, you know, and keep your animals out of the water, because blue-green algae will affect your animals as much as it will affect human beings. So we're going to have to play it day by day. The hot weather's causing this problem, along with all the rain that we've had. We need to do something to clean up the bay. That means everybody in the bay, in Georgia and Milquam Shore, you know, we've got to clean up our act. If we got septic systems that are working, you know, more power to the lake. If people haven't got septic systems that are working properly, they need to clean, you know, get them, you know, done properly by an engineer and put in by a qualified person who can put these leach fields in. But because right now the bay is closed, we don't know when we're going to be able to open it back up. Maybe in a couple of days, maybe Friday, or maybe not till next week, because it's just like green pea soup down there.
Oh, my goodness.
You can see the scum around as it comes in the shoreline.
Yeah, as it pushes in, yeah. Well, and I presume that the rain stirs things up.
Yep.
And that the heat, you know, heat is a medium for growth.
Yep. The temperature today was 90 degrees in the water down at the bay.
No kidding.
So you can tell the algae is growing.
Well, I have a little clip from the paper regarding this issue in Georgia, where I live. And
that's a pretty good tax break down there.
For some people, 34 homes on the lake. I think they're primarily seasonal homes. And so my question, when I called the assessor in town who made the decision about giving a tax or lowering the assessed value of these homes to cut back on their taxes, because they're dealing with, here they have a seasonal home and they can't really use the water, and so somebody appealed to him, and but I noticed here in the article that zoning in the town is charged with ensuring that lakefront septic systems are in compliance with state regulations. Now, I believe that when I called the assessor, he couldn't tell me how many of these properties had a septic system. And I think that...
Well, I hope every one of them had it.
I don't know.
But,
I mean, a closed one that doesn't empty into the lake.
Yeah, there's self-contained systems. There's also leach fields, that you can put in, mound systems that you can put in. But every town, has a health officer, and they're required, if they get a complaint from somebody that septic is coming from somebody's adjoining property, they have to investigate it. And that's what I do in St. Albans Town. Right now I'm investigating a failed system that, the engineers involved in it. I called the state environmental enforcement officer today, and I got told to go down the line to somebody else higher because the system is still leaking, and I want that system pumped out, and I don't want any more of that leaking to go down along the side of the road and into a ditch. And I'm still waiting for a phone call. So that's bureaucracy in Montpelier.
Well, you just be persistent, and I know you will. Yeah. I think given the nature of the problem and how it affects everybody's life who wants to enjoy the lake, you don't want to even put your canoe or anything in the water. It comes out all covered. I think that every town then has an obligation to either set policies that, these places have to have some sort of a closed septic system, individual septic system.
I think every septic system in the state of Vermont, I ran against Al Vogel. Al Vogel came up with this idea. He said, basically what we need to do in St. Albans Town is to take and make out a form, go to every house that's in the town of St. Albans, GPS the location of their septic system, dye test their system, which I agree with 100%.
Now, what does dye test mean?
Dye testing is they got different types of pills that are, blue, green, yep, silver.
And it tells you what's in the water?
It will tell you if the system has failed because it'll leak out, either come out onto the ground or go into a lake or a river or a stream.
Well, I have a mound system at my home, which I maintain, and a friend of mine at their home had a problem with the septic overflowing in their basement. And so I've been in my home 11 years, and I thought, boy, it's not a lot of people using the system, but maybe I should be proactive. So
be proactive than $20,000 to $30,000 more.
Well, and what a mess.
Yep.
And it's not healthy. So I had it pumped, and I was told, it really wasn't bad at all, but at least I know it's done.
$250 is cheaper than,
exactly.
$20,000 to $30,000.
Exactly.
If you keep your system clean, it'll work properly. Me and my wife, we've lived at our house for, 29 years. In fact, it's this month we've been there 29 years. And about every 2.5 years, we pump our septic system.
Really?
But I also put this Rodex in. I also
Riddex,
put
yep.
Riddex.
Yep.
I also put some yeast in there because if you keep the bacteria active,
yep,
they'll eat the waste.
Someone told me, I buy the dry powdered Riddex,
yep,
which isn't cheap, but you need it,
yep,
so you do it. But a friend of mine told me that you're better off getting a liquid, that the powder doesn't do the same job as, just a tidbit.
Yeah, a possibility could go to the walls of the piping that gets into your septic tank.
Yeah. When I had the house built, I made the decision not to, although I'd had one in the past, not to have a, what do you call it, in the sink for you can put
check
food
valves?
No, when you can put food.
I know what you're saying. It's a, it grinds up the food.
Yeah,
yes,
one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just decided, you know what, that's not good for the septic system. So what do I need it for? So I just chose not to have one. And then it depends what kind of toilet paper you buy. If you get that heavy duty ply stuff,
yep,
they say that's not good either.
Yep.
So anyway, we don't need to get into toilet paper.
We ought to give some toilet paper to Montpelier.
Yeah. That was a good one. So, okay, are you happy with covering that topic?
Yes, I'm very satisfied with that. I think, we need to clean up our lake, and everybody needs to work as a team, not only residents but farmers
Yes.
and major wastewater treatment plants.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, it's not for the purpose of penalizing like the farmers. We need the farmers, you know, they're critical to our lives.
Yep.
And our livelihoods as well as theirs. And we want to have sensible solutions.
There's responsible farmers, and there's farmers that, you know, they'll bend the envelope.
And the rules, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So those are the ones we got to keep an eye on, but there's
And
a
you
lot of
know-
good farmers in the
You
state
know
of
what's sad is that you almost come to the point where you think the town or the state or somebody has to monitor everything because people don't do the right thing. And I don't like government monitoring. I like personal responsibility. Do what you're supposed to do, follow the law, and you know, be a responsible citizen and teach your children the right way, you know?
Yep.
Because we get into problems and then everybody pays the price.
That's right.
Okay.
We're all
Number
done that
one
subject.
down. Okay. Now it's almost time. What would you like to read the first question?
Yeah, I'll read the first one, and you can do the second one. And
Okay.
We'll circle the question, because that way the next, on Wednesday
Okay.
night, we're going to give out some more.
Okay. Don't read the answer in the bold print.
Yeah. For the residents of the viewing area, we got some tickets that were donated by the Franklin County Field Days. And to promote Franklin County Field Days for the many years that they've been in this area. It's a good promotion for them, but it's also for the people, the businesses in Swanton and St. Albans and Highgate, because there's about 20, close to 20 to 30,000 people that show up. So, starting off on number one, this is the 40th anniversary of the Franklin County Field Days. But how many years has it been held in Swanton, Vermont? You call out the right answer, Linda's going to decide how many tickets you're going to get.
Yes. And the phone number's on the screen, 527-6449, in case you can't read it. Feel free to call us up and you can get, well, we'll give you somewhere between 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Free entry tickets for one day to the field days.
It doesn't make a difference whether you're Republican or Democrat.
Not a bit, no. You just want to go to the field days.
Enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
It's a good event, and it's worth going there and spending the time.
So how many years has the field days been held in Highgate?
In Swanton, Vermont.
Swanton?
Yeah, it's been held in Swanton,
I
Vermont.
thought that
but
was Highgate.
I think it's a little bit half in Swanton and half in Highgate.
Okay, all right.
But I've got the answer, but I don't want to say the answer.
No, you don't.
Because
No.
I want somebody to earn the tickets. But if you don't call up, and give us an idea, the years, then we can't give away these tickets.
And if you haven't been to the field days, it's really a great thing to go to. They have food, they have entertainment, they have tractor pulls, bands and all kinds of food booths, and it's just a nice family thing to do. Rides too.
Yeah, rides, your price includes all the rides too.
Yep. So give us a call if you're interested. I think I hear the phone. We'll see what happens. We have a number of topics here we're going to be discussing tonight. We'll see. The next one is going to be Act 39, a Vermont law regarding physician-assisted suicide. And, we have a caller. Welcome to the program, caller.
Hi. I'm guessing it's been 31 years.
You're 100% right.
Yay! We have a winner. What is
sounds
your
like-
name?
Oh, it's Linda.
Yeah, I figured that.
Oh, Linda.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. You can have
How many tickets would you like between?
1 to 4.
Just one.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You don't want to take anybody, your better half, to the...
Take a
No, I'll give that one for my grandson.
Okay, so you want 2 tickets then?
Yeah. You can have as many as 4.
Okay, 2.
Okay.
You have to come to the studio and get the tickets. We're
Okay.
here. We're here at BFA anytime after 9 o'clock and to 4.
And
Okay.
I'm just putting Linda on them, okay?
Okay.
Thank you for calling, and
Well, thank you.
congratulations. Enjoy your time at the fair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Good night.
I'm glad
Okay, we have a winner.
That way we know somebody out there is watching us.
Yeah. Oh, I know they're watching, believe me. A lot of
Oh, yeah.
people don't like to call in.
No, they're
But they'll
bashful.
stop me on the street or in the store.
Yeah.
And anyway, Act 39, physician-assisted suicide. We'll do another one in another
on, yeah.
15 minutes or
Yeah.
so. Okay. Vermont enacted Act 39, I think it was 2 years ago. And this is a little story about someone's experience. And this Professor Bohr, who teaches ethics at a Protestant theological university for 9 years, they assess every euthanasia case. And he said sometimes it's the family who go to the doctor and ask for their family member to be euthanized, okay? Try to encourage it. Other times it's the patient saying they don't want their family to suffer because of their, their illness or whatever. And you hear anecdotally of families saying, "Mom, there's always euthanasia," which is when you take medication to take your life. So here in Vermont, where physician-assisted suicide has been legal for just 2 years, so I was wrong, I think I said 2013, cases of pressure are already starting to emerge, and it isn't always family members providing the pressure. Some organization called True Dignity has spoken with the family of a 90-year-old Medicaid patient who felt pressured by caregivers in the facility where she was admitted for recovery from a fall. The patient did not have a terminal illness. According to Beth Neal, clinicians at Berlin Health and Rehab Center in Vermont informed her mother at regular intervals during her 4-month stay there that she had a right to use Act 39, and that she didn't even have to discuss it with her family. It was the act of repeatedly bringing up Act 39 as a health care option that caused her mother to feel pressure, and not overt efforts by clinicians to convince her to request the lethal prescription. Neal said, however, her mother made it clear she wanted nothing to do with Act 39. She didn't want to take her life, and was disturbed that staff introduced the topic repeatedly. Neal notes that her mother was and is in otherwise surprisingly good health for her age, and would not have qualified for Act 39 as the extended stay in Berlin Health and Rehab was strictly for recovering from a fall. Neal was not made aware of the situation at the rehab facility until after her mother had already been moved to assisted living at a Northfield facility, where she currently resides. When she did hear of it, it blew my eyebrows off, she said, once she learned of what had happened at the other facility. According to Neal, the staff at the Northfield facility informed her that her mother had reacted strongly when they began to discuss care options. That's what they call it, care options. Mom thought they were going to start talking about Act 39, the way they did at Berlin Health and Rehab, and she blew up at them. She said, "I don't want anyone talking to me about killing myself." That's when it came out that the staff at Berlin Health and Rehab had talked to her more than once about her right to request a lethal prescription. I recalled then that my mother had been very eager to get out of there, and I had noticed that she seemed frustrated and unhappy, but I didn't know why. Her mother told her that the staff at the Berlin facility specifically stated that Act 39 is the law, and in her words they said she could off herself anytime she wanted to. She told her physician, who adamantly opposes Act 39, "They want me to take a bunch of pills and kill myself." So clearly confusion abounds regarding the duties of medical caregivers with respect to Act 39. Vermont's affirmative duty to inform under the Patient Rights Act requires that healthcare providers let patients know of all available treatment options, but it is not clear how this is understood to apply to Act 39. The mother did not have a terminal diagnosis and would not have been eligible for a lethal prescription under Vermont's law. So we can only speculate about where some of the information comes from. But Patient Choices Vermont is a well-funded pro-assisted suicide group, an arm of the national organization Compassion and Choices. So they say they're about educating people. At present, there is no oversight mandated by Act 39 to prevent abuse, and the only other organization we're aware of with resources and staff to educate care providers about Act 39 is the Vermont Ethics Network. States are prohibited from using Medicaid dollars to cover costs associated with physician-assisted suicide, but it's unclear whether there are provisions in the state-sponsored Green Mountain Care Medicaid to pay for drugs and doctor visits for patients requesting the act. So it's just important to know that the fears of some folks who were concerned that especially elderly people or really infirmed people would be pressured to take the pills, whatever it is that they give them, that would end their life. I think that's awful.
Let me ask you this,
Sure.
we're probably from both on either side. What do you feel about, the right to die as far as, taking your life?
Well,
I'm a Christian. I know you're a Christian. We go to church. I love my wife very much, and she's sitting right there. But if I come to the point in life where I feel I'm on feeding tubes, I'm in a coma, I got diapers, and I'm not.
and there's no hope of
There's
your
no
recovery.
hope for ever me coming back.
Well, then there are things that they can do, and do.
Morphine patches.
Morphine, and also limiting the food intake.
And
There are
water.
more natural things that can be done to help to facilitate a more natural death.
Yeah.
But to encourage someone to take something to almost force them is not right.
I think
That needs to be your decision.
That's right.
Along with your wife, in your plan.
Yeah, we've done
Your
our
caretaker.
advance directive and all
Yes.
that. And we've
And that's a good idea. Absolutely.
we've got it all done.
I don't want to
wanna-
linger either. If there's no chance of my being able to be alert or to have some kind of a quality of life, then I agree with you. But I certainly wouldn't want to proactively do it that way.
No.
There are more natural ways for that life
it's the
to end.
choice of the person that is coming to life's end. I know that in the time God will take me, and I won't suffer anymore.
When He needs you.
Yep. Life is like a puzzle. When you're born, the puzzle starts, and when you die, the puzzle's finished.
Yes.
And what you do with your legacy is what you're going to be, and people are going to remember you for.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's the time between birth and death that defines your life.
Yeah.
What you do with your life and how good you are to others and how, all the great things that we have an opportunity to be as a person.
Yep. When my father died, he was, towards the end of his life, they put on morphine patches and more morphine patches, and it's hard to say goodbye to your mom or dad.
Yes. Yeah. Of course it is. I went through that at an early age when I was 19, so I know what it's like, but we don't have control over these things.
No.
This is between God and the patient,
That's right.
and that's the way I look at it. And
I don't think the Northwest Medical Center would be involved in that and having a person, die of their own free will at their hospital. I doubt it very
I hope
much.
not. As a matter of fact, I think I read somewhere that they don't
Yeah.
support that. That was a while ago. So that's another topic, and The next one is, we have a few more minutes before we have another caller. This is the attack on religious freedom. Hillary Clinton believes Christians must be forced to change their religious views. Speaking in New York recently, the presidential hopeful, who was strongly opposed to a ban on partial birth abortion, took issue with deeply held cultural codes, religious beliefs, and structural biases, demanding they be changed. And let's see, Mrs. Clinton's comments outraged the Catholic Church, evangelical leaders, and other Christians. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal said during an appearance on Fox News, quote, "My religious beliefs aren't between me and Hillary Clinton. They are between me and God," unquote. So I think, you know, our future options, our current options have to remain free. Assaults against our religious liberties are dramatically increasing. If you pay attention at all, you'll see where there's an anti-Christian movement, not only in this country but around the world. Now with Hillary Clinton telling Christians and believers that we must change or else, I'm calling this man who wrote this on believers across the nation to resist these attacks. But Hillary's words should be a warning of things to come. Attacks against your religious rights are becoming more prevalent. And also, in the military. Oh, we have another caller. Caller, welcome to the show. What do you have to say?
Hello.
Hi.
I can hardly hear you.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Me?
Can you hear me?
Me or both of us?
I can't hear you. Very, you sound very far away, like 100 miles.
Put your mic up closer.
Well, it's usually too close, so I moved it.
Well,
Can you hear me now?
Just barely. But I just want to make a comment. So
It must be the control room. It's not, unless it's this little mic. Go ahead, Diane.
okay. Well, just backing up a little bit on the assisted suicide, I just wanted to say that the sanctity of life is very important from birth to death. And I grow a rose garden and I make potpourri, and I put a little sign or a little tag on my potpourri when I give it away, and it's called the rose, and and I put on it, the rose is a symbol of life and love. Preserve the sanctity of life from birth till death.
Mm-hmm.
Love your God and neighbor as yourself. Love to live, live to love.
Perfect.
And, you know, when the doctors are becoming doctors and going through medical school, they take the Hippocratic Oath, which means first do no harm.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go and try to convince someone to take their life because they had a broken hip or they're 90 years old, you're basically saying they're worthless people and it's time to get off the earth. And that is a tremendously selfish society that we're living in. No one wants to sacrifice for another human being today because it's all about me, how I feel, what's good for me, what's going to make me happy, and you're a burden. You know, you're a burden if you're 90 or you're a problem or you're in the infirmary or wherever you are. You're a burden.
There but for the grace of God go we, right?
Amen. And, you know, and the thing is about, you know, abortion, that's taking life before it even gets on the earth. And then they're trying to get rid of people for any reason that they have. You don't have to be 90. You could be younger. So the sanctity of life is something that we have to promote and we have to respect and we have to talk about.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm expecting that next week I will have a full-blown program on the recent exposure of what Planned Parenthood is doing.
Well, I just got something from Jay Sekulow, American Center for Law and Justice. I just want to read something that's happening in Texas right now that's in his 4-page brochure. and I'll just say it very quickly, and then I'll get off. He says the abortion lobby in Texas chanted "Hail Satan" as they tried to drown out the voices of the people and defeat a life-saving law. They failed. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit has ruled a Texas law banning abortion after 20 weeks can go into effect. This law also requires abortion clinics to abide by basic safety standards and other common sense regulations. The abortion industry's grand attempts to bury a critical pro-life law in Texas went down in flames. Signed, Chief Counsel J. Alan Sekulow. And he fights all over the world for the unborn, for Christians, for people being persecuted for their faith. And he has offices in Washington, D.C., Jerusalem, Strasbourg, France, and Moscow, Russia. He's an international person. He is Jewish by nature, but became a Christian.
Well, I know he does phenomenal work in protecting our laws, justice, and life, and so forth, and trying to free people who are incarcerated, American Christians that are incarcerated in foreign lands. And I think you make some great points, and this latest revelation about taking body parts off of unborn children, it just breaks my heart, and it just shows such a lack of, oh my gosh, a lack of respect for...
It's just plain murder.
Well, I know
we don't even have to discuss what it's a lack of. It's murder. It's killing children in the womb, period.
For profit, and
no... For profit or for any other reason. It's plain murder.
No conscience.
None.
It's really sad. Well, listen, thank you.
Well, anyway, you're welcome. I don't need any tickets.
I was going to ask you.
And I couldn't answer the question anyway.
Well, you got your property tax bill, so you ought to be happy with that one.
Oh, yeah, I'm real happy.
Yeah, everybody, education went up a total of about 9%. We went up about 1% as far as the town tax.
It's not the town taxes, it's the education tax. That came out of Montpelier this year, right?
Yeah, the town tax, which is part of the SATEC and then BFA, and then the rest came on through Montpelier.
I could do a whole program on education.
But how are we going to fight our taxes based on what Montpelier did to us?
Well, you know something? You got to put new people in office.
Well, we all know that, but if it's the same, if the same people keep voting for the same people all the time, we're not going to get new people in office.
It's about education.
Yeah.
It's about informing the people. That's why I do the program, as to what to look for, to be, you know, on top of what's happening in Montpelier, and realizing how it's going to affect you, reaching out to your legislators, your governor's office, whatever, and let them know that you're watching and you don't want this or you don't want that. And if they want to be elected again, they better toe the mark.
Well, your program needs to be promoted in every single county in this state.
Well, someone asked me today, I was on the phone with someone, and they wanted to know, is this show on YouTube? And I think it's a possibility to put it on.
I'd have to look into that. I know we do put
Elizabeth
some
said.
on, what do you call it, Facebook and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
So,
do
you know, I'll have to
Facebook.
check into that, you know, if there's a possibility.
I've had people in Burlington ask me, can we get it?
Well, different other public accesses throughout Vermont can get these shows.
I know, and
You know,
they
and
sometimes
download 'em.
they do.
Yeah,
Yep.
and all they got to do is, we download some shows from the different public accesses in Vermont, so, you know, they can do the same thing.
Yeah.
If they love Linda Kirker's show and they want to have it down in Rutland or down in Bennington, you know, all they got to do is download it off the server.
Well, we'll look into that.
Well, yeah, because it's also good when you have local people on your show, like Dave and some of the other people you've had. What's his name? I can't think of it
Jerry
right now.
Morong and, oh my gosh. And
Jerry
then-
Morong, and then you had another guy that I forget. It's too hot to think. My brain's not thinking. It's 90 degrees in Vermont. The
I
brain
know.
shuts off.
Well, thank you for calling, Diane. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, and we'll keep these topics rolling because so much that's been buried under the rug, and it's time that we speak out and speak up for God, family, country, morals, and values, period.
Absolutely.
Don't disagree with you.
I'm there.
Okay,
All
goodbye.
right, good night.
Well, we got to do another question, and I'll let you do number 4.
Okay, number 4. Okay, folks. How many maple creamies were served last year at the Franklin County Field Days? Do they have to be exact, or can they be close?
Within 100.
Okay. How many maple creamies, they should be very popular,
Yep.
were served last year?
I think I ate about 10 of them.
Yourself, huh?
Me and my wife.
All right, well, we'll see if anybody calls in on that one. We'll keep going. The next thing is about the soldiers in the military, if they're Christians. U.S. Armed Forces have a message for Christian soldiers. Hold your tongue, change your attitude, or either voluntarily or involuntarily be mustered out. Those are the words of Mickey Weinstein, a former Obama appointee to the Pentagon, specializing in religious freedom. He now heads an anti-Christian organization falsely called the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. I love the way they do that. They turn it around so it sounds like Mom and Apple Pie, but it's always something.
It's anti.
Absolutely. As a consultant to the Pentagon, Weinstein's first order of business was to declare all chaplains who openly share their faith or evangelize as spiritual rapists. So, despite his threats, Christian chaplains in all branches of the armed services refused to silence their religious testimony, but they're facing an increasing risk of punishment and even their careers for Christian beliefs.
These chaplains, when they're in the in war, you know, and they've got a brother soldier dying, you know, that person dying wants to hear from the chaplain, you know.
Absolutely.
That's totally
They
asinine.
listen, and a person who is a believer, what they need is for their faith to come into play
That's right.
at that time, and you want that religious representative to be there. Yes, Jesus or God, whatever, you know. If it should be no question. We have
I agree with you.
religious rights in this country. There is a Republican from Idaho who's a representative in Congress who is fighting vigorously to protect religious liberty with his First Amendment Defense Act. And I'm hoping that folks will encourage, I believe he's in the House, so Peter Welch, to support that bill. Get after his case and say, we want you supporting that bill to protect our First Amendment rights. It shouldn't be necessary, but because our rights are being trampled on by those in our government who don't respect our Bill of Rights and our Constitution, then we have to fight back.
I don't disagree with you one bit, you know, because, you know, my opinion, if the people aren't protecting our rights, whether they're congressmen, senators, let's get them out of there.
That's the way.
Yep.
Okay.
No callers yet. We got some more tickets, you know,
Yeah.
Franklin County Field Days, you know, they were generous enough to give you some one-day passes, so
Why don't we try another question?
why don't you do that question over again, because if they don't like creamies, then I don't know, on a hot day like this.
Well, there's another interesting question there.
So just repeat that one and give them 1 minute, and then
Okay,
we'll go to
boss. How many maple creamies were served last year? The answer is, what do you think? We'll give you a few more minutes on that one, and then we'll work on the next one, which
We can give a hint. It was more than 500 and less than 4,000.
All right, that's quite a
Give you
range.
a little range.
Okay. The Vermont Energy Plan. Last Thursday, when I read in the paper there was going to be a presentation by the Public Service Board and some of these numerous organizations that want renewable energy and nothing else, I decided I should go and spend the evening and educate myself on what their plans are. Well, I sat there with my mouth open. I could not believe what I was hearing. I knew some of it, but I didn't know the extent. I know that there's a goal to have 90% renewables by 2050, and now they're starting, I think, in January of 2016 with a plan, and then every 6 years they're going to update or advance it or whatever. But this is an article from Vermont Watchdog by Bruce Parker. Now that Vermont has a mandate to get 75% of its electricity from renewable energy sources by 2032, that's just 17 years, residents will have to ditch automobiles and embrace a whole new way of life, the state's top renewable energy CEO says. We're probably going to have to abandon the car, David Blittersdorf, president of All Earth Renewables, told Addison County Democrats in a recent presentation titled Vermont's Renewable Energy Future. Blittersdorf, the entrepreneur, arguably responsible for the Green Mountain State's transition to an energy policy opposed to oil, coal, nuclear, natural gas. He doesn't want any of that. Says Vermonters face big challenges as Act 56 kicks in. He says the car has been our #1 reason we consume so much energy. Suburbia is built around the car. Our highway system is heavily subsidized around the car. It takes a lot of energy to run a car-centric system, he said in an hour-long presentation. In the new green Vermont, where renewables-based electricity will power nearly all human activities, people will have new lifestyles. Vermonters accustomed to driving will have to seek out mass transit. Homes heated by oil and propane will require conversion to solar, wood, and biomass sources, aided by heat pumps. Even air transit will diminish. Without the benefit of cars, Vermonters living in rural areas, like I do, will need to relocate to cities and towns to survive. We got to get people to live where they work and get into the community. They can't be living everywhere, Blittersdorf told his audience of Democratic voters. In Vermont, people like to live 10, 20, 30 miles from work. That's going to disappear. The 10-acre lot way out in the middle of nowhere on a dirt road is not going to be working anymore. It's going to get expensive to live like that. So we have to get closer to where we work, the All Earth Renewables chief said. This Act 56 was sponsored by 2 Democrats, Representative Tony Klein and Rebecca Ellis. He's from East Montpelier, she's from Waterbury Center. That act requires that 55% of a utility's annual sales come from renewable sources beginning in 2017. 55%, okay? The number increases each year until renewable sources hit 75% of sales in 2032. The new law ensures Vermont will be on track to reach its aspirational, though non-legislated, goal of 90% renewable energy by 2050. According to Blittersdorf, whose business stands to profit handsomely from the 25 megawatts of new renewable power generation required each year for the foreseeable future, Vermonters can expect to see solar and wind farms everywhere across the state. his industry plans to install 6,000 megawatts of solar capacity and 3,000 megawatts of wind to meet Vermont's goals, a sharp increase from the 100 megawatts of renewable energy generation today. Wind turbines won't need to cover all mountaintops, however. Only 1/3 of the state's ridgelines will host wind farms. So it goes on and on. Let me see. Vermonters can expect other big changes. Targets will require a moratorium on new roads, airports, gas stations, car dealerships, and national pipelines. Blittersdorf even predicts air travel will be diminished, though not as a result of Vermont's legislation. The idea that we're going to be flying around in airplanes is one of the worst consumers of energy and emitting carbon. I tell my kids, if you're going to travel now. Don't wait 50 years. How will Vermont fund this transition while preventing fossil fuel companies from gaining a foothold in the state? The Green Energy CEO says lawmakers should pass a $100 per ton carbon tax on distributors of fossil fuels. The tax will generate an estimated $500 million annually while dissuading fossil fuel companies from doing business in Vermont. And then there's a response here from the Vermont Energy Partnership, Guy Page, saying, if you want to be riding a train or electric-powered bus to work every morning past miles and miles of solar panels, you ought to be having a discussion with your legislators. John McClowry, founder and vice president of the Ethan Allen Institute, said Act 56 will enrich renewable energy CEOs like Blittersdorf and hurt average Vermonters. So, I mean, there's more to this, but I think that gives you a pretty good summary of what's going on in this state. Vermont is determined to be the green, renewable state, and it's going to drive how many businesses out? Car dealerships, gasoline companies, and car dealers. I don't know.
But you know, regional planning throughout the state of Vermont are pushing this issue.
I know.
About getting the population to come into area growth centers.
That's why all these big developments, you know, over by Collins Pearly and over by the intersection there by 104.
Nest and places like that. Yeah.
And more down on Route 7. They're planning for them. Where do they put these places? Near interstates.
Yeah.
So that people can be picked up at a location. What does that do, Dave? It takes away individual freedom and opportunity and responsibility. Big Brother is going to take care of you. Yeah. The nanny state in action. I can't stand it.
Right now I've got just about within probably less than a half a mile, I got 83 solar panels going up on Lower Newton Road. A lot of people are not aware of that. You know, it's hard to see them, but there's going to be 83. But if you go up and as you're going up 104 off on Fairfax Street and you look way over on the right, I'm not sure how many solar panels over there. At least got a couple hundred over there, but you could just barely see them. You know, this Rocky Ridge wind turbine.
There's controversy over that.
Yeah. And the Public Service Board, you know, is the only one that's going to make a decision. Select boards and city councils can't make decisions. It's up to the Public Service Board.
Well, that's government control again. Government control. We'll continue with this if you like.
Go on to another question. It must be they don't like creamies in Franklin County.
Well, listen, folks, if you're interested in some tickets, we're down to the last 10 minutes, and I have 6 tickets left for one day's admission to, actually it starts Thursday this week and through the weekend. You can go and have a great time with your family or invite a friend to go with you. It's really a fun thing to do.
Yeah, thanks to Franklin County Field Days. They were nice enough to give these tickets so that the people that wanted to go are having an opportunity. All they got to do is call Linda Kirker and give her the answer. She's got another question.
Okay, here we go. How many people attend the Franklin County Field Days? In round numbers, give you a clue.
Yeah.
So the number 527-6449 if you want free tickets for the field days, give us a call. How many people attend the Franklin County Field Days on average? Take a wild guess. Okay, so in regard to, big government is taking over healthcare, education, now our environment, our energy. So we're dispensable. Maybe that's why they have that pill. Okay, caller, welcome to the show.
Hey, Grandma, it's Matt.
Oh my gosh, you got to turn down your TV. You turn down your TV, honey.
Turn down the TV.
Do you have an idea of the answer?
I'm going to guess 78,000 people.
Ooh, you're an optimist. You want to bring it down a little?
All right, 20,000.
All
Yeah,
right.
right there.
Right
You're on the number.
Oh, nice.
Okay, how many tickets do you need?
2.
Okay. I'll put your name. Actually, do you want me to take them home?
Sure, I was going to come visit you after the show, so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's all good for a one-day pass, and thanks to the Franklin County Field Days and their board of directors, they gave us the tickets, so you'll have 2 tickets, and Linda will take them home to you.
Now,
Perfect, sounds great.
are
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Are you at Memes?
I am MMA.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, honey, for
Great
calling.
show, guys. Keep
Thank
up the
you.
good work.
Okay, honey.
All right,
Bye-bye. That's funny. Who knew?
Well, something, if people call in, you got a chance to win more tickets.
Well, we have.
Why don't you take and give another question? Or
Well, why don't you? Here we
Okay.
did. Oh, this is Matt. 2.
We got to keep track of these. We want to make sure that these people get the tickets.
Yep.
Okay, this is one. How many little piggies are used in the piggy roundup?
What is
And
the
it's
piggy
between
round?
1 and 15, so you got to come up with the right answer, and it's a round off number. Please call in. You get 2 tickets to the Franklin County Field Day starting on Thursday through Sunday.
Okay, read it again, please.
How many little piggies are used in the piggy roundup? And it's between 1 and 15, and it's a round number. I can't make it any more easier
No,
than
you
that.
can't. Okay, so what's the piggy roundup? I don't even know.
Well,
I guess I haven't taken part in
I
that.
haven't seen that. Maybe it's a bunch
Okay.
of Republicans and Democrats that put them in a pen and make them go
This
around.
little piggy went to market.
Well,
Okay.
it has to do with little piggies. They probably have that up in the livestock barn, and we probably should have got a little more information, but it's a farm
That's
show.
all right.
They have livestock, and they have pulling contests with draft horses and stuff like that.
All kinds of good food and.
So we need someone to call up. Like I said, between 1 and 15, and it's a round number, so we can't make it more easier than that. Please call in.
527-6449. Give us a jingle because we only have a few minutes left. Yeah, it's fun. I hope to get over there this weekend and take part in that. Okay, so we covered quite a few things, Dave. I did a lot of reading because I thought I was going to be on the show by myself tonight, and God sent you.
Something, I'm the answer to a lot of problems here.
I thought you were going to say the answer to a lot of prayers.
Yeah, well, that
and
could
you
be
probably are that too.
Yep, yep.
So, okay, another week, here are some topics that I'll be covering. Next week, if my plans go according to expectations, my guest will be thoroughly informed on this new abortion thing that's going on with Planned Parenthood, and we'll get a lot of facts and figures. The state of Vermont alone contributes, we taxpayers contribute $300,000 a year to Planned Parenthood.
I think what we need to do is have the parents educate their children and facts of life. Back in when I was in school, BFA used to have a class on that, But, a lot of parents won't talk to their children about the facts of life, and that's why we got children having children.
Well, and that's why, we have Planned Parenthood going into the schools, which I don't think is a good idea. I think they can have a health class that's run by the school. And yes, we need to talk with the young girls, and let you talk with the young fellas, I talk with the young girls about respect your body. You command respect from the fellas that you choose, to date, and you make sure that you don't put yourself in a position where you could be in a family way, and because you need to know, no matter how old you are, if you get pregnant, that's your responsibility. And you don't want to look back 30 years later and have had an abortion and regret that for the rest of your life, wondering what that child would have been, who they would have been, what they might have done, how they might have enhanced your life. It's a huge, huge decision, and if you can't afford or don't have the ability in some way to raise that baby, at least give it birth. There are places that will help you to place that child and have a great life. We have the lowest birth rate in the country in Vermont, and we need those precious little babies.
Yeah, but I think it's planning, when you want to have children, when you get married and stuff like that.
Well, when you're
I believe
young,
in one for the mother and one for the father. More than that, it's too costly to bring children up in today's world.
I agree, and you just have to think, and you have to plan, as you say,
Right.
and you have to understand the consequences of your actions,
Yep.
and make sure that, it wasn't an issue for me when I was growing up, because my parents gave me, the
Education.
message
Yep.
that, you don't let them touch you.
Yep.
And I listened.
But we have to get people to go to church. 20% of the people in the United States go to church.
Let's see if we can start a thing. Oh, one more job where we can talk with young people. Get a woman in there, or a young girl who got pregnant, and how she handled it and how difficult it was. And it's not an easy thing. It's not easy to bring a child into the world when your situation is great.
That's right.
When you're a married couple and you have the means to take care of them and you're mature enough. But when you're young, you have to really think about these things, and not, it's easy to get carried away in the moment. But in the back of your mind, you have to be thinking, and even talk about it with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and say, this is not something that we want to have happen.
Yep.
Yes. So I think we're down to probably 1 minute. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. We wander from one thing to the next,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
It's a topic, that other people aren't talking about. And
Well, I'm
public
willing to
access is
go
always
and
talking.
I'm willing to go and talk with the young people if you are.
I'm willing to, to go and talk with any group of boys and talk about, I started off very young having a child, so, I ain't afraid to talk. God will
No, hey,
lead me
we
in the
all
way.
have our life experience. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. It was a little bit of everything, but I hope you learned a lot, and next week should be a very, very interesting show as well, and educational. So in the meantime, stay cool, have a great week, be kind to one another, and I'll see you in a week. Good night.